What is up, all my hope healers and hope dealers? This is Kim. This is my YouTube channel, my PhD, my prison history diploma. I did 10 years and 8 months in Florida Department of Corrections, and I've been out for over 15 years now. Thank you so much for being here. So today's topic is going to be, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. And I'm going to tell you a story that happened during my incarceration that I witnessed, and then I'm going to actually relate it to here and now. So with that being said, let's get started. So I want to tell y'all about a time during my incarceration. There was this girl, and I'll call her DF. Y'all know that I like to use the first initial, last initial. And she was going home in about 3 days. From prison. She probably did about 7 years, and you know, she was a little kooky, but nonetheless, she was a human. She was a kind person. She was very nice to everybody, and she was going to go home in 3 days, and a lot of us were very excited and happy for her. Now, one thing I have to say is back when I was in Florida Department of Corrections, we could smoke cigarettes. We just couldn't smoke cigarettes inside the dorm. So DF, it was the yard was on a lockdown for the night, and DF and everybody were talking, and everybody was very excited for this woman to go home. She was an older woman, and she decided she needed to smoke a cigarette, so she went into the bathroom and she lit up a cigarette. And you know, we do this whistle when we were in the dorm if somebody was smoking a cigarette to let them know and alert them when the COs are coming. So she goes into the bathroom, she lights the cigarette, and somebody does the whistle to let DF know that the CO is on her way. And DF did not extinguish the cigarette in time enough, and that allowed her to get caught smoking a cigarette inside the dorm. Now, in Florida Department of Corrections back then, when you got caught smoking inside the dorm, that carried 30 days solitary confinement automatically. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And it also came with 30 days loss of 30 days loss of gain time. So she got caught, and the CO said, you're going to confinement, and she didn't cuff her right away. So DF started freaking out and thinking she was going to go to solitary confinement. She was going to have to do an additional 30 days in prison after doing 7 years, knowing she was going to go home in 3 days. And she did something that was absolutely unbelievable to me. Like, I cannot even believe this happened. But she went into her room, she broke a razor, and she came out of the room, and she just said, I'm gonna slice my throat. And everybody started screaming, no, no, don't do it, don't do it. And she took her razor blade and she sliced her own throat. It was a terrifying experience to see. It was not fun. It was actually, you know, not healthy for people to witness this, and it was really scary. And everybody started screaming, and she did hit a artery that threw a lot of blood out. So blood is just spewing from her neck, and it's getting all over the floor, and you could tell that she was about to faint. And, you know, of course, everybody's screaming, which alerts the CO to come in. The CO sees, and I'm telling you, when your throat is sliced, blood spews out at a very rapid rate. And, I mean, it was just insane how much blood was coming out. And so the CO calls back up, and DF, you know, is about to pass out. They run. They go to catch her. Their boots were going in her blood, and it was just horrendous. And it was such a bad cut that they actually had to have her airlifted out of that particular prison to take her to a hospital. Now, the good news is that DF did survive. She did come back to the institution. She did go to the infirmary, and a couple of us snuck back there to go say hi to her. And she ended up going home within those 3 days. And she had horrendous staples in her neck. I mean, it just looked scary. And she couldn't talk because of where she took the razor blade to. But she could, write down, hey, I'm going home in 3 days. They're still letting me go home. And I talked to the CO later and I said, man, why did you do that? Like, why did you tell her, why were you going to send her to solitary confinement? Like, you knew she was going home in 3 days. Like, it really messed with her mental health. And the CO said, if she would have just waited, I was going to tell her I was not going to write her a disciplinary. I want that to sink in for just a minute. Now, I know, like, when I say don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle, it's really hard for people to understand that that was going to be DF's miracle, was this woman was not going to write her up. And it was probably so hard for DF to realize that she wasn't going to lose going home in 3 days. But her mind latched onto fear, which latched onto another negative emotion, which latched onto another negative emotion, which then caused her to physically act out and cause harm to her own body. Now, the reason why I'm putting this video out there is because I've been fighting with fear actually for the last 3 days. Now, the reason why I haven't done any videos is because my best friend came to visit me where I live, and then I had an incident where 2 guys that were younger aggressively were staring at me one night when me and my best friend were out. It was a Saturday night, and they winked at me, and it was very insidious, and I could tell that their vibrations were not healthy. They were not for good intentions. Let me just put it like that. It just made everything inside my body have fear. I mean, like, my spidey sense went up, whatever you want to call it. I just knew I don't ever want to see those guys again. I remember the one young guy, he had a piercing on his lip and a piercing on his nose, and they were around their 20s, and the other guy was young too. And it just, like, the way that they stared at me and the way that they were winking at me, it just felt, you can feel people's vibrations, y'all, and it didn't feel like good vibrations, like they were just. And then when they were leaving the restaurant that we were at, one of them looked at me and said, thank you. They were Hispanic men, and I couldn't understand why they said thank you, but what it did was it put so much fear inside me that I couldn't even do any YouTube videos, and I latched onto that fear, and then that fear grew because I wasn't doing anything to counteract that fear. I allowed myself to go deeper into a deeper fear. So instead of latching onto, I am safe, I am protected, I'm in a safe community, and I know for a fact I'm in a safe community, I'm in a safe home, I'm in a safe place in the country that I am in, I still, and it happens to all of us, y'all. So please don't think that, nobody should have sometimes of fear, because it's false evidence appearing real. And for me, the situation, yes, they spoke to me in a very insidious manner, but what my brain did was it took me down this rabbit hole that wasn't healthy for me. And none of those things that my brain was telling me could happen had happened. And I know, like, as a single woman, yes, I should be alert walking any streets, anywhere, whether it's US or somewhere else in the world. We should all, as single women and even men, be alert, be aware of your surroundings. But I allowed fear to keep me from doing these videos. I allowed this fear to stop me from living my best life for 3 days. And what I want to say to that, and the reason why I want to say don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle, is because I've been asking universe, God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, please show me what am I to learn from this situation. And I'm going to do this shout out to Dr. Christine Lopes. You can find her on YouTube. She actually explains all the phases of ascendment, of being able to connect with your higher power, spirit, universe. And one of those is to face your previous fears in life. Now, that was a miracle for me today, for that video to pop up on my feed, and she explained everything that I literally went through. It was a not a very large incident because they didn't physically reach out to me, but it was verbal, and the vibes and the energy was very scary. But I went into a super panic fear mode. Now, something I will tell you, to be very transparent, is in my past, when I was younger, I was actually with a man that was very physically harmful to me. And I allowed myself to stay with that person for for about 2 years. So that, I believe, after watching Dr. Christina Lopes, I believe was that fear rising up so I can work through that fear, which is what I've been doing for the past 24 hours. I've been working with Energy Healer. I've been working with women that are further ahead on their spiritual path in regards to what this fear means and what is happening. And then, of course, that YouTube video came on, and it was all about spiritual ascendment and healing old wounds. Now, here's the thing. There was a piece of me that wanted to leave where I love right now and go somewhere new because that fear took such a big hold of me. And what I have to say to that is I stopped what I was doing, and I remember that I am not to give up 5 minutes before the miracle, that the universe responds, God, higher power, with love and with protection. And I'm going to tell you this, I am, and I know that I am protected, and I am Kim Live Free, and I'm supposed to be able to walk around with freedom of my spirit. And that means that my temple, my body, gets to be free as well as I walk around. My miracle was that the right people at the right time are placed in my life to help me walk through this fear. So to all my hope healers and hope dealers, if you're going through something right now that is giving you fear and it's giving you discomfort, all I can tell you is do not give up 5 minutes before the miracle. It is going to come to you. It's going to happen. I had to do my work and take action steps on my side and reach out for help and tell people, this is my fear, this is what's going on. It became debilitating, and I don't have the answers. Now, not only did I choose to pray, and I also chose to pick up the phone and call people and have conversations, honest conversations with them. Those were the action steps. That's when the universe opened up the door, God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, opened up the door and allowed me to see the bigger picture. Y'all, we are healing at a very rapid rate right now. Things are moving very fast spiritually. And if you're going through something right now, I believe in you. And I believe that you can come through that fear with love, with a whole lot of love and protection. Love yourself and reach out for help. It's okay. If your ego, which is edging God out, is telling you you don't need help, pick up the phone right now and call somebody you trust and be honest with them and be vulnerable with them. Because through open wounds comes light. And with that being said, I love all of y'all. To all my hope dealers and hope healers, we are healing together. We are growing together. And one candle lights 1,000. We are putting dark out and light is rising up. And together as a community, we are combining our lights today, and fear does not have a home in our life. I love all of y'all. Have a really good day. And Teddy says hi, and I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. And if you've gone through a fear and you walk through it, drop a comment below. I want to hear how you got through it. And if you're going through a fear right now, drop a comment below. I'm here to help you, and anybody else that watches this video, we are here to help each other. I love y'all. Thanks.